Alright, everyone, Sparto123. I wanted to do a video here on one of my ARs. Uh, this is not really the actual video I want to do, but I realized that I don't have any content on this particular rifle, and I figured it would probably make the most sense to go ahead and put a video out on it because you guys have already seen the majority of pistols that I have a review on already, or some video of. I don't really have anything of any of the rifles on my channel, so before I talk about some of the other stuff that I have or that I will have, I want to kind of get this one out of the way. This will also serve as a brief snapshot in time. This is its current setup. This is not the it's not too far from the original setup of how I've always had this one set up, and this is also not going to be the final setup. I do want to change some things around on this. Just as you gain more experience, you learn new things, and you start to form different opinions than you once had. So we'll get right into it. This is a Spikes Tactical Black Assassin, or what was equivalent to the Black Assassin when it came out a few years ago. This was assembled by me. This is not assembled by Spikes. It's not 100% one-to-one with the Black Assassin, and again, it's not 100% of what it originally was once I initially assembled it. So the small differences are the Black Assassin actually has a not a war comp, but I forgot who makes it, but just look it up. It's whatever the flash hiding compensator is that comes from Spikes. Battle comp, I think, is what it's called, actually. It comes with the battle comp, and it comes with the BAR2 rail that you see here, and it does come with, I believe it does come with Magpul polymer flip-ups, the MBUS. It does come with anti-walk pins, ambi safety, their version of their enhanced combat trigger. And it comes with an ergo grip, which you do not see here because I just didn't prefer it. This one's actually pretty comfortable. MOE stock, Spikes T2 buffer with the tungsten powder in it, with their buffer spring, and their nickel boron bolt carrier group, and I believe just either a gunfighter charging handle or just a generic charging handle. I can't recall. It's been a few years. How this one is configured, this one's not too far off of that, as I mentioned. Everything is pretty much the same with the exception of the muzzle device and the pistol grip, and that's really about it. So initially when I built this, I decided to do a Lantac Dragon, which is a 2-port muzzle brake or compensator. I think you can consider it a brake. Anyway, it was awesome. It was phenomenal. However, it freaking shot fireballs, and I got more interested in doing low light stuff, so I decided to change it. What you see on there now is a Surefire War Comp close-tined. Not nearly as effective, but it also doesn't do fireballs like the previous did. This is currently set up a little bit of a dual roll kind of setup, not necessarily like a DM setup, but more like a dual roll where you can do a little bit of close up stuff, and you can do a little bit of intermediate distance stuff with the magnifier. So this does have a primary arms red dot, which is the T1 T2 replica, I guess, or knockoff, however you want to word that, with their long eye relief magnifier. Quick touch on those: I have not had a single issue. I have not changed the battery one single time since I've had it, and it serves its purpose. Eventually, like I said, I do want to change it up. I do want to put an L can on this, and kind of keep these as like maybe beater optic to put on something else eventually, or maybe sell it or something. I don't know. It is also wearing a Surefire P3X, which is a 3-cell 1000 lumen flashlight. It's actually a handheld flashlight, which you can see on this side, and that's mounted with a Haley Strategic Thorntail SBR mount with the Surefire rear tail cap to run a pressure switch, and it's just a generic pressure switch that is actually zip tied to the rail because, yeah, it works. So eventually I do want to switch that out as well. I'm contemplating a couple of lights on some other stuff that I have that you'll see eventually, and kind of move things around. This was on my another one of my setups, but it kind of got moved down because I originally had a P2X Fury, I want to say the model number is, and that was around 600 lumens. This one's 1,000, but I don't like that it's 3-cell. I don't like how big it is, and I don't like how heavy it is. But it does definitely serve the purpose for now. It's 1,000 lumens. It does have some really good throw with the reflector design. This isn't a flashlight review, but just general overall setup, and I think it's contextual. It is running a UTG bipod. Yeah, I did say UTG. It serves its purpose right now. I usually only run it on this particular rifle, and I'll occasionally move it to a couple of other setups I have only when I'm zeroing, just to make things easier, to make take as much out of the equation as possible of me, as much of me out of the equation, and just use the gun and the mechanics and get as close to perfect of a zero as humanly possible. Being that this is currently set up in like a dual roll setup, this is it kind of lives on here for now, and yeah. I did forget to mention the 3x primary arms magnifier is actually riding on, I want to say it's a Samson spring-loaded flip-to-side mount, which is a really awesome mount. The primary arms optic, I forget who makes the quick detach mount, but it's also sitting on a nice mount as well. Those are spikes ladder cover that are over the Picatinny rail on the front, that's their BAR2 rail. We're running out of time here, so I'm going to kind of get to the meat and potatoes. This rifle probably has around maybe 3,000 rounds, 4,000 rounds. I kind of stopped counting once you start getting to having a few different firearms. No malfunctions. It runs good. It's definitely a quality AR. This is a mid-length gas system. This is a 16-inch cold hammer forged barrel, 4150. CMV, of course, chrome, moly, vanadium, whatever, vanadium. And I was able to get about a minute groups at 100 yards with 75 grain Hornady, and I believe it was their Hornady Black series, and it was a little bit under an inch, but I'm gonna just call it an inch for what it is. So extremely good accuracy. Good barrel life with the cold hammer forge. I used to feed this crap Tula Wolf. I used to definitely be about minimum money as possible to get ammo and just feed it whatever. I've since changed a little bit and started buying more quality things, which you'll kind of see throughout the video progression and some of the other stuff that I have. This now has an ambi charging handle from LWRC, and it definitely serves its purpose. It's not too high profile like the Raptors are, but it's ambi, and it gives you a good enough purchase for you to be able to do what you got to do. So let's see here. Yeah, you should be able to see it. But this also has a Magpul bad lever. Again, serves its purpose, but I'm kind of moving away from them. Just depends on what the gun is actually set up to do. If it's set up on like a dual roll gun or like a DM gun, I don't necessarily mind it as much. But if it's like just a general fighting rifle, then I'm kind of moving away from doing that stuff. Yeah, so I guess would I buy it now today with all the options and with how much Spike's Tactical cost compared to what else is on the market? Nowadays, I probably wouldn't. Not because it's a bad rifle, but because there's so many good options out there for equal or less money. You can get a solid BCM setup for $1,500, and I want to say that this retail went for around $2,000 when I first got it. I had a particular hookup back in the day where I got everything pretty much at half cost. So, but yeah, so if you're interested, comment down below. If you have any questions, comment down below. But this is Sparta123 signing out.